I don't know if that's ever come to fruition or if it is still alleged, but didn't sound very good. Well, that's not the way I wanted to start episode 416 of We Were Gamers, a podcast.
Sometimes you don't get to pick.
It's all uphill from here.
You know, this is a profound thing, JJ. Sometimes you don't get to pick. But in football drafts, you do get to pick.
You hope.
Yeah, let's think about that. Let's get deeper for a second. Do you get to pick? I mean, you do, but you don't, right? You don't get to choose everything. Travis Kelce is off the board, and you don't get to pick him. So it's about making the best choices you can, right? It's a life lesson to play fantasy football.
And even if you're playing auction, where you could just pay more and get him, right? Do you really want to pay $74 for Travis Kelce out of 200? I don't think
Seems
you do.
awful steep.
Did you really see that in your draft?
No, but the top couple guys went for the 70s.
Wow, 70 for what happens when they get hurt the first week?
Sucks to be them.
Oh no. Okay, well, it's fantasy football season. I very famously removed myself from fantasy football years ago. However, to help out younger, they're still children who are interested in participating in this, learning the skills of it, furthering their desire to like football. I've rejoined a league that I play in a very removed manner. So let's talk some drafts. How did everybody do?
Well, I got one down, one to go. I've got another one tomorrow night as we record this.
Same here. Yep. I'm in the exact same boat. One in, one more to come.
Okay, I am done. So I believe I sent you guys my ongoing theory come to fruition, which is try and get into the running backs quick.
Am I still the only person using the superior auction format?
I'm not in charge of this league, thankfully. After many years of being in charge of the league, it's something I don't have much desire to do anymore.
Oh, I hear you.
And as a person in charge of the league, I'm sure you do. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you're still the one with the most unique draft.
Okay. Well, let's see how did you and Michael do then? I want to hear who were the top picks. What anything spicy go on?
Well, so for me, I'm gonna fly in the face of Andy's strategy there and say that for the league that I just drafted, the running backs early might not be the way to go. So
because you're in PPR.
Well, it's half PPR, but it's a 3 wide receiver league, and the tight end spot is actually a tight end wide receiver flex.
So you need 4 wide receivers.
So you need 4 wide receivers to fill out your roster.
There's no RB in that flex spot for the tight end?
There are 2 flex spots. One is wide receiver RB tight end, and one is just wide receiver tight end.
I have an unpopular opinion, I think, here, because I don't think that tight end spot, just like I don't think the kicker or defense spot should get dropped, that tight end spot should be for a tight end and not for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, Andy. I also am, contrary to a lot of people's opinion, I think kickers are good for fantasy football in how random and ridiculous their scoring can be.
Defenses too, to some extent.
I think defenses should never go negative. However, I think they should
I agree
be
with
able
you
to earn 0.
Yes, absolutely. If they go negative, round it up to 0 at the end of scoring.
Well, it just certain things just get so out of your control, especially towards the end of the season, about like how teams perform and what they're actually doing, that like they might lose 42-7 because they didn't have any starters in. I guess you should know that and not play the defense. Right. Yeah, exactly. But that's an extreme example of sometimes you just can't control what's happening, or like it's not on the defense when the offense fumbles the ball away.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, full agreement about the way defense scoring works.
Sure.
But I
But
do
I
like the
guess-
fact that they can get crazy high point totals if you do like, they randomly pick sixth and now they got like plus 12 points basically. Like it's I love when you just see a person whose defense got like 27 points this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And the opponent's defense has 5, and you're like, that's respectable. You're like, too bad
Michael,
you got destroyed.
yeah. Michael, you have to play the league you're in. I'm not faulting you for taking a lot of receivers. If you have 4 to how many flex spots do you have?
Potential for 5 wide receivers on the starting lineup.
That's insane. Of course, you have to take receivers.
Yeah, but you'll be happy to hear that I did take a tight end for that wide receiver tight end flex.
Well, you should.
Because you can get them, you can get a good tight end for a premium in a league where you could start 5 wide receivers.
To counter Andy's point, though, I think the consensus standard scoring top 10 has like 5 wide receivers in it, and then only like 3 or 4 running backs. So
it's because a lot of people play PPR. First of all,
yep,
standard scoring, no PPR.
Yeah. Standard scoring, no PPR.
Even standard scoring still has a lot of wide receivers in the top 10.
I would believe it. The problem with running backs is depth.
And that's exactly the reason why.
Yes, that's the landscape of the NFL these days.
Yeah. Whereas there are enough teams that not every in a one QB league, not every team will stock a starting QB on the bench. There's QBs out there to go grab. You don't need to bench QBs, and you don't need to take them early. You can play them like a streamer almost.
Well, especially when, if you're not getting the number 1 or number 2 QBs, your Josh Allens, your Hertzes, your Lamars, if you're not getting those guys, like the difference between the difference between a Bryce Young, a Caleb Williams, or a Kyler Murray is, not gigantic in the the grand scheme of things. Although I suspect Kyler Murray is going to do better than those other people I mentioned there. But
but they'll keep they'll keep you in a week, right?
Sure.
You don't need them to set the barn on fire, but they'll keep you in it.
Well, you shouldn't set your barn on fire. There's a lot of horses and stuff in there.
But you let those out first, obviously.
Fair.
All right. Well, did any of us end up with Christian McCaffrey or something we really, really are surprised by? My roster ended up pretty well, but it's not, like, oh my God, you guys got to hear this.
Well, I will say I feel pretty good considering I was drafting from the worst position in a snake draft.
Sorry, first.
Second worst position. Second worst position in a snake draft. I was the turn.
Yeah. Actually the worst, correct. I hate that position.
I ended up drafting 4th in a snake, so it wasn't too bad. Nice rounded picks usually. No superstars in each round, but solid pickups each round. So
I think the thing that broke my mind, again, it's an auction, so again, it's a little different, right? But this is the guillotine league that I was in this year. It had 10 teams last year.
Okay.
16 this year.
Ooh.
Honestly, that's probably going to make it a lot of fun.
I think it's going to be better. You're right. The thing is that a 16-person auction is bananas because there's so much money out there all the time. You're just like, well, someone just spent like $70. Like 3 guys have gone for $70. No one can have enough money left to pay $70. Oh my God, they're doing it again. But I felt like my roster turned out all right. You can't ever, in that kind of a draft, you can never expect to get all the people you want. But I ended up with Jalen Hurts. I'm pretty happy with.
Oh, hey, me too.
Mike Evans is my wide receiver 1. Derrick Henry is my running back 1. Laporta for my tight end, who I kind of overpaid for, but
yeah, but kind of towards the end of tight end block of you should actually pick up these people versus trying to find a streamer.
Laporta is rated as the number 1 tight end.
Oh wow. He
Yep.
was he
Above
wasn't as
Kelsey.
high last year.
Well, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah. He was pretty dang good. I had him.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
I went back for him. So,
Dip in the well, baby.
yeah. Just ungodly long. I think I said in the texts to you guys, I think I took maybe 2.5 or close to 3 hours by the time it was done.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's nuts.
Too long.
Like the thing is, there's so much money out there in the field, right? And a bunch of people didn't even spend all their money, which is rookie mistake, right? Number one rule of an auction draft: end with $0. It doesn't matter what you do at the end. If you have $30 left in one player, bid 30. Like don't.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
we've come into this before where you can't use any leftover money in waivers.
Yeah, the money goes away. It's gone. So spend it. There's no reason not to. Even if there's no point and you can outbid everyone by bidding $3 and you have 30, spend 30. Why not? But really
Yeah.
what it means is you should have spent that 30 earlier in the draft, right? That's really what that means.
Right.
So not a problem for me. I've been there before, but you feel bad for like newer drafters and you're seeing like this guy has like $25 left and he's down to his last 2 bench slots and he bid $4 for a kicker. You're like, okay, I don't know. None of the kickers are worth $4, man. Those are $1 guys.
Yeah. And
But-
last. You should always take them last.
Totally. But to Andy's point, play the league that you're in, I
Play the
knew
league you're in.
there were a bunch of Green Bay homers and San Francisco 49ers homers in this league. So we're like nominating Brock Purdy, even though he's not very good, and nominating, the 49ers defense and like watching people bid it up. And you're just like, y'all spending money.
Spend that money.
I just see in value for me.
Beautiful. Well, value, right? The most value that you can get, value item that you can get, I think, is a cup of noodle. Let's return to weird cup of noodle flavors, you guys.
Oh
Oh,
my
no,
God.
there's more. We're going back to the well.
It's not a weird flavor, actually. The contents were a little strange, but I happened to go to Daiso, JJ.
Okay.
I pointed one out near you.
Uh-huh.
They have, and I want to point out, they must be from a Japanese manufacturer, cup of noodle. The styrofoam of this cup, quality-wise, is just so much better than that. I don't know if you remember, Michael, the feeling of that Walmart one, the camping noodle that they had that was exclusive, that how like papery and weird and flimsy. Or if you've had a cup of noodle recently from the market or a vending machine, the horrible packaging that it comes in, rips, doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, it's as cheap as they can make it.
This cup noodle from Daiso, which flavor wise was just curry flavor with dried apples in it,
Oh, nice.
was
This does sound very Japanese.
was
Mhm.
in the nicest packaging I can imagine for a cup of noodle. The styrofoam wasn't hot even after I had filled it with boiling water. The piece of paper that covers the top was removed itself perfectly and was 5 times thicker than the American version. It was just like precision cup noodle engineering, and the flavor was very good. Not too strong, not too sugary, not too curry-y. Very, very good. So,
This is what the corporations have taken from us.
yeah. If you want a off-flavored cup noodle, not from the store, head over to Daiso. That's what I have to say. You'll find a good value.
I do love Daiso.
Mm-hmm. I do too. All
Well,
right.
Speaking of water,
Mm-hmm.
we had a water-related activity, I would say, is we all attended a boil. That was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you got there. The boiling water. That was awesome. Wasn't my planned transition, but better, honestly.
We'll go back to water later in the podcast, probably.
I think we're gonna stay on water for a long time.
Okay. But it was good to see you guys in person. I think anytime the pod gets together in person, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Good food was
Shout out.
had. And
Yeah, major shout out to Andrew for his share of more than how many bottles? It was 13.
it was a decade vertical to start with, and then all the accessory bottles around it.
Yeah, 8 years, and then multiple bottles around it. Stealing the show was a 7-year-old bottle, I think.
I think so. I think the majority opinion was that the 2017 fundamental observation was the pinnacle.
I haven't participated in that much fun and sampling of alcohol in a while. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's like definitely one of those things that hasn't built back really since COVID is like huge bottle shares. I mean, we've had some birthday parties. Shout out back to your birthday party there, JJ.
Thank you.
Which there was many interesting things opened, but the designed event used to be more common. I feel like I don't know if that's a statement about the industry or about parties in general, or just people getting older. We were gamers.
Little column A, little column B.
Yep. I think my no, there was no problem with the event. The problem with myself in the event is that just sampling someone's beer, you just get full.
Yeah. Well, was it the beer or was it the fact that there was a billion crawfish to keep eating?
It might have been that I had like 3 full plates of crawfish. It could be.
But you also wanted to keep eating the crawfish because they were excellent.
Yes.
Well, you want to keep eating the crawfish and some potatoes to soak up all the bourbon barrel aged beers.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, speaking of things boiling over, JJ.
Yeah.
Did it get resolved?
It was a good thing we came home after that event instead of staying there or staying up in Orange County. Because had we might have not have been home when this happened.
Oh.
So my water heater sprung a leak the day after that event on Saturday, mid-morning or early afternoon, maybe morning.
Where is your water heater?
Thank God it's in the garage.
It's in the garage. Okay, yeah. Does it have a pan?
It did.
Okay. Did it perform to expectations and shut off the water heater?
The pan doesn't shut the water heater off, right?
Well, so there's usually a cutoff switch to tell you that, and it sets off an alarm. No,
not something that this had.
Okay, got it.
There is a drain on the pan,
right? Which you can hook up a hose to.
But no such hose was present or pipe, and so the pan drained onto the garage floor.
Well, that's concrete, I hope.
It is, but you'd prefer there not to be gallons of water cascading over it.
No, as a person that stores many things on the floor of their garage, no.
Yeah. Most of our storage stuff is plastic or, big bins, so we didn't lose too much. But the box the water heater is sitting on is made of wood, and the cabinets out there are some wood ones. So really didn't appreciate that too much. We caught it early enough, I think, and turned off the water to the water heater and that we were able to, limit the damage. But, definitely had some push broom time. That was not fun.
No, that's a bummer.
And so then, started calling people, trying to figure out what the hey do you do about this.
You get a new one.
Yes. And I think, did I text you guys the quote? I think I did, right?
You did the 2 separate quotes.
Quotes. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so the first person was like $4,400 to like $8,000. And I didn't want to laugh at him because he was being serious, but Come on.
I wanna applaud you for not considering anybody's suggestion that you could repair it. I had a long fight with someone one time about the fact that water heaters should never be repaired when they leak.
You said that, or they said that?
I said that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah. They should
and
never be repaired.
Their thought was
at least in my
patch it.
home.
You could patch it somehow.
Yeah, so depending on where they rot out, they can try and patch them or replace a part, but it's insane. That's insane man talk. Those things are usually 10 years old. You're not going to find parts for them, or you're not going to be able to.
Right.
And you patch something like that. How long till it lets go again? You're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Plus the weight of all that water, you wouldn't want it to like catastrophically fail. That would be like even worse, right? Even a leak, even a big leak is a problem, but like actual explosions are possible if you screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
So no, we didn't entertain that.
Good. Nice.
Yeah, so we got a second opinion, which was less than half of the 4,400 quote, and we went with that. Did end up having to pay some extras for various valves and things that were out of code and needed to be replaced because they were probably from the 70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you add a easier cutoff so you can shut off the heater first?
So the valve that shuts the heater off, it couldn't really reposition it given where it was, but the valve was replaced so that it actually turns now without me having to like strong arm it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the gas shutoff valve was replaced also because the gas valve that was there was from probably 1970. And the guy was like, this is so old. I can't in good conscience even leave you with this.
Yeah, well, it probably would leak if it, But water heaters nowadays, I think if you probably have 40 or 50 gallons, right?
Right. The question was, the one they removed was a 50, and he's like, the size of your house, the number of bathrooms, you could probably do a 40 here, dude. It's just a question of, what you want. Obviously,
yeah.
They're like, your choice, whatever you want. I was like, is there a price difference? He's like, no. So it's like, all right.
No. Yeah, well, stay bigger then.
But there is an operational cost difference, right? So if you run, you save a little bit running the smaller one, right?
What's a little bit, I guess?
Andy, for you need the bigger one.
I do. I do need the bigger one. Yeah.
I got the smaller one. He says the code says for a two bathroom house, you need 40. So, okay. Our previous water heater didn't have a thermal expansion tank. We got that included.
Oh, good.
A bunch of stuff. So they were out here this morning doing that. Had to like sawzall off a piece of a shelf that was blocking the water heater in because it couldn't slide. It was in like at an angle, and the shelf, just the corner edge of the shelf, blocked the circle of the water heater from sliding all the way out. Yep. So I had to like. Now we have a kind of diagonal edge on that shelf.
Well, it'll be good.
There was nothing on it, so yeah, good. Got all that done. The guy was very nice and talked to me while he was doing stuff, explaining what was going on. The nice thing is that now the pipes from this water heater, both the overflow, like, oh God, it's going to explode expansion pipe, and the one in the pan, both now lead outside of the garage.
We put a little hole through the wall.
So they did have to put a hole through the wall, the drywall, and then the actual exterior wall. But if this happens again, it'll be outside's problem, not inside's problem, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's the way to do it.
That's the code, in fact.
Well, it didn't used to be the code. I'm guessing you also don't have a giant steel bollard in your garage blocking access to the water heater.
Yeah, don't know what that is, so nope.
Yeah, well, you know what a bollard is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's code actually to have something blocking a car from hitting the water heater.
Huh.
And that thing has to be 10 inches from the water heater. So good luck using your garage.
Yeah. Nope. Don't have that.
Not all code is good code, in my opinion.
And it depends where codes change place to place, right? Like what is code here in San Diego may not be up there.
Yeah, well, that's
but
true.
yeah, that's wild. Also, apparently, these have to be permitted. I didn't know that was a thing. But as I'm sure you all know, the way house permits work, you say, "Oh yes, Mr. Contractor, I will handle that." Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Okay, good job. We'll do the work." And then you let us know when it passes. You're like, "Sure thing, bud." Thumbs up. And then you don't do that.
Yeah.
And then you save yourself thousands of dollars and days of hassle with the city.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. I mean,
and then the only time you get dinged for it is when you eventually choose to sell the house and someone says, "Hey, this isn't permitted." And you go, "Okay, I'll take $300 off the price of the house." And they're like, "Okay, got it." What a great society we live in.
Well, we could live in a different type of society. An ancient feudal society where honor is the only code.
Do tell.
Shogun?
Aha, yes. Yes, indeed. So have you finished?
We have completed the possible ending, but maybe not, of Shogun.
Are you referring to... Well, hold on. You're talking about the fact that they might do a sequel here?
Yeah,
it sounds like
they've greenlit a second season.
Oh, they actually did. I heard there was just a rumor that seasons 2 and 3 were getting worked on. Which is, to me, let's say we could start at the end here. Maybe kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know where you go with this story.
Well, do you do this story, or do you just jump ahead in time to after the revolution is over and he is the shogun? For people that don't know, this is historical fiction, so I'm not spoiling anything to say Toranaga is based on Tokugawa, who becomes the for lack of a better word, emperor of Japan for a while, but he's not the emperor because his family holds on to the seat for the emperor, even though it goes on for multiple generations. I don't know, man. I'm not well versed in Japanese politics of the era.
Yeah, the period known as the Tokugawa shogunate, though, is what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's called the Edo period, actually, if you're talking about Japanese history, because Tokugawa shogunate was based in Edo when they moved the capital to Edo for a period of 200 and something years, I think.
Brief little several generations of reigning there.
Yeah. Well, I liked it quite a bit. What a show. Some pretty heavily fictionalized characters, obviously, because that's how you do when you do historical fiction.
And I mean, I think that's how the book was written as well, right? So,
as far as I could understand it, yes. But again, famously, I couldn't finish the book 2 times, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert.
I think the thing that I liked the most about the show was they didn't hold your hand like so many shows do these days.
Yeah, they really only had one stunner of a misstep to me, which was, gosh, I don't know. Is it a spoiler to talk about characters and what befell them at this point?
Spoilers for Shogun.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Mariko's storyline and how it ends really felt like a bait and switch moment to me, more than it needed to be. She had this ending that was set out to be a really traumatic and effective thing that then they backed out of, and it was like, oh, all right, well, maybe there's more for her to do, or maybe there's, just like no need for the character to die. And then it was like, oh no, we're gonna just like kill her off anyway or whatever. with no real design. I guess her passing in that way maybe is the only reason that the emperor's, the Taiko, I think, right, mother, and ends up siding with Toranaga. So I feel conflicted about that one.
I think
in terms of the writing.
Yeah, that's certainly the implication, right? That she switches after that happened because
of the betrayal of her friend and all that sort of thing. So I guess that's why it happens. It just felt a little rushed there. I guess maybe that's what it's supposed to feel like. So maybe it was a good thing. I haven't really thought that one through. How did I think the most controversial thing would be the jumping back and forth in time in the last episode.
Oh, way into the future when he's the old man.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
So I think my issue with that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with this season, with this first season. I felt it didn't take me out of it too much in this season, but I feel like that as a choice is very weird when you are going to then make more seasons.
Well,
right?
They weren't planning on it, right?
Well, sure, yeah. It added to the sense of this being a complete story, right? Like he's made it home to tell his story to his grandchildren. He has the artifacts from his time, and this this sort of closes it out. And then
I have a counter idea for you.
Okay,
he is a fictional character based on a real person.
Sure.
Since he is a fictional character based on a real person, and he has those moments where he is seeing the future or past or whatever you want to call it, where he seems to kind of lose himself for a moment. Let's say in season 2, they're just saying that he's seeing things, maybe he doesn't live forever.
What if they don't put him in season 2?
Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah.
You're saying that's what they should do. That's my opinion.
I think the time jump. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
No. I was just going to say, you're saying that maybe it's not his old man self looking back. Maybe it's his younger self imagining forward.
I'm thinking that could be an excuse for it to say, he looks forward the rest of his life, and he just makes the assumption to live his decisions like Mariko told him, and assume what his future is. It's possible.
Yeah.
I think
there's 200 enough. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I think it's ambiguous enough in the showing of it that you could read it that way if you wanted to. They don't necessarily support that reading, but it's there. Like, they don't disprove it either, right? So you totally could take that and run with it in a hypothetical season 2 if you wanted, or whatever.
Yeah, you would lose Hiroyuki Sanada, right? If you do the time jump, and that would be a real shame.
I think given he's one of the executive producers, I don't know that that's happening.
Well, you would lose him in the acting portion of it if you did a time jump. So you're right. Maybe you don't do the time jump because people want to come back to watch him at this point. It really is a tough pickle to put you in, because they kind of said, like, yeah, I know my plan's going to work out. I'm not worried about it. And that's the end of it. And you have to kind of say, well, it was made to walk away from. So it's weird. I think the fun thing to talk about, actually, that didn't mention, is the budget for that show was $22 million.
Is that a lot?
Not bad. Not bad at all, considering how many episodes they got out of it and the extremely high quality, I would say, of all the sets and the costuming, and the pacing was never rushed like a Game of Thrones.
No, it was all first rate.
The number one thing I think that helped was there wasn't a ton. I can't say there were none, because there definitely was some, but there wasn't a ton of really obvious
big name
but like constant overuse of CG, right?
Yeah,
Which
true.
Guarantee a bunch of those backgrounds are fake. Guarantee
Oh yeah,
A bunch of like the earthquake, right? When you see
it was
the ground.
pretty fake earthquake, but it was good.
right, but like, you know, it's not on the Marvel movie scale where like every scene is filmed on a green screen and then they make the entire movie in CG effectively, right?
Yeah.
And you know, limiting it to those, and you know, this show had a bunch more just like two characters talking to each other scenes, which like don't happen that much anymore if you have been paying attention.
Yeah.
And like, hey, that's cheap, man. You just got one shot, two people, bam, done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that Michael, we might talk about it in a minute, but that's one of those things that makes the bear kind of cheaper.
I had that exact same thought. Is that you do get a lot of that kind of against the grain of modern TV making in the bear is just two characters having a conversation.
Hell, sometimes it's just one character talking at a camera for like 6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But to contrast what I was trying to get at, the Fallout season 1 budget was 153 million. The scope of I mean, it's working out great. Fallout was a great show, but
and it was a huge success, to be clear, right?
Yeah, huge success. So, you know, when you're measuring success levels, you know, one company's success cost 22 and the other one can cost 153. So,
and not filled to Fallout was not filled to the brim with named actors either. There were some, but you know.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, you know, I think it's
Walter Goggins is pretty big name actor.
I said there were some. But I think the important thing to take away there, though, is that like Fallout had like, you know, 40 locations or something, probably more. I'm not.
It also
remembering.
films in the U.S.
Right, cost there for sure, and you know, were there even 40 locations in this show? Like, probably not, right?
No, there were like 3, and
Yeah,
a lot of them are
5.
interior. I mean, a lot of it's interior, actually. So that's really not hard to do.
And then a grassy plain, and they paint a beautiful backdrop on it later.
Yeah, you can put Canada films for everywhere, you know?
New Zealand is open for tourism, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. I do like that you mentioned it doesn't handhold you, too. It really is good filmmaking when you didn't miss something because a character didn't tell you, and you didn't miss something because it happens off screen. You missed it because you weren't understanding or paying attention that two characters are communicating in front of you.
Well, the whole story is about, you know, translation and understanding, you know, words and people saying things and not meaning the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking specifically of the instance when I can't remember off the top of my head everybody's names, but when Toranago's lead general, spoilers again, commits seppuku over his decision to surrender.
Mm-hmm.
They have that whole conversation in person, right there in front of everybody, where, you know, he basically is telling him that it's time for, you know, this to happen, and he does it. That was his plan. That's crazy. That's a crazy scene to go back and watch now that you know that they're talking about what needs to happen completely in a Jim Kirkian, you know, code.
Yeah, the entire discussion about taking the castle and you know what their plan is for all of that and all this stuff, and like, you know, after you see what happens, you were like, this was actually the plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
wheels within wheels for sure.
Very good. Wonderful show, in my opinion. Do we want to save some more TV for next time, or do we want to keep going? I think I have some game stuff too we could get to.
I love a good game.
You love a good game? Well, let's start with some game news then. How do you feel about Harebrained Schemes coming out of the woodwork today? Did you see?
Oh, I did not see.
I saw something, but I didn't have time to check it out. You got to tell me.
Should we watch an announcement trailer for Harebrained Schemes' new game, Graft?
Sure.
Let me pull it up. But apparently, they brought back at the beginning of this year the director for one of the Shadowrun games and for BattleTech.
Okay. Those are things I like to hear.
Yep. And they dropped this trailer today. I'm sharing it in the general chat. Nope, that's not it. Copy. There we go. There it is in the chat. Let me know you got it up. We'll all watch it together. I haven't watched it yet because I thought maybe we'd save it till I watch it. It's only a minute long.
Okay, got it.
All right. I'm going to hit play in 3, 2, 1. Ooh.
Ooh.
All right.
Right off the bat. Losing an arm.
This is that drawing style from a little bit more like what is that, Supergiant?
Yeah, it's a given transistor.
It's pretty reminiscent of their cutscene animations
From
So I think
Shadowrun.
with like some painterly stuff done to the rendering, I think. So
What are people losing
It
limbs
looks really
in this
good.
thing?
Yeah. And
A lot
growing them back.
limb.
unlosing.
What is this giant monster thing? That's crazy looking. Okay, it's just art so far. Oh, there we go. This looks very transistor-y.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Oh, they got a grant from. Do you see that at the end there? The little the credits say that it's a epic mega grant game. So that answers that question, huh?
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, the studio is apparently now called Harebrained. There's no schemes anymore.
Okay. The original founders are no longer there. Is that right?
Yes, but it seems like the people who have carried on are doing well based on this. But also, this trailer music is the same guy who did the BattleTech music.
Oh, well, I'm into that.
Oh.
How'd you figure that out?
The credit at the end of the trailer.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But didn't. So one thing I did see, because I got an email about this game and then didn't click the link to watch the trailer. They sort of, I mean, you kind of saw it in the trailer, but they kind of explained that it's a unclear what kind of game exactly it is. But the reason they call it Graft is there's a lot of like discarding limbs and reattaching,
Sure.
for various purposes.
Okay.
But the thing they said is that the limbs carry pieces of the previous owners, and you get those too when you graft.
Oh.
Yeah. So like maybe there's some sort of evilness system or something like that, or
Very much a like classic cyberpunk story, how much of you can you replace until you're no longer yourself kind of a thing, right? Although kind of a
Interesting.
horror aesthetic a little bit here based on
definitely
trailers.
survival horror.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Steam page. There's a line in here in the about this game that says, "You are the ship of Theseus. Who or what will you be when you escape?"
No,
Oh my God.
now I
No,
don't know if I can play it.
I didn't say anything about zombies, Andy, so you're okay.
Oh, well. Okay. What are we escaping? Do we know what we're escaping?
Gestures
We'll find
broadly at the trailer.
It sounds like it's a dying space station.
Oh, all right. So a little bit Doom, a little bit Cyberpunk, a little bit Transistor.
A little survival horror-y, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. That's fun looking. All right. Well,
pretty cool.
Yeah. congrats to Harebrained, no longer scheming on that. Michael, what'd you get up to this week?
We made some progress in our very slow march to catch up with watching the Marvel movies.
Oh,
Yeah, so we watched Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it too. It has
its
own charm, which I think is unique to the Ant-Man movies.
About halfway through, for me, it kind of like the charminess wore off, because the charminess of the first Ant-Man was definitely in the, the almost Ocean's 11 style campy robbery story with like a lot of heart. And this one was turned into, more like a Avengers movie.
Paul Rudd can only carry you so far,
That is definitely part of what I'm saying.
I missed Luis.
Yeah.
That's what I missed the most, I think.
Yeah, that's also what I'm saying.
And plus, like, it didn't have, it was a very fantastical situation, right? Like the whole movie was fantastical. There was not really any like real grounding, easy stuff.
There wasn't
like, there's no everyman to compare to, right?
It seemed a lot like they were like, that Thor Ragnarok was weird and quirky. And it was like, yeah, but it's not what you got here. With all the aliens and the wackiness and that kind of stuff. The giant moving buildings that were also aliens. It was just missing a little bit of that. I don't think it was bad, though.
No, it wasn't. I definitely felt like it was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't jumping up and down, but, what did you guys think, Michael?
We enjoyed it. It definitely, is in kind of the unenviable position of having to do the heavy lifting of kicking off the next arc.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those Captain America, the First Avenger problems.
Yeah, a movie that I think has improved as time has gone on, right? When you go back and look at that movie, you're like, that movie was pretty good, right?
I think so, actually. Yeah, but I think at the time, people didn't think it would hold up to Iron Man and all those other things that had come before. I think there were a few, right? And nowadays, it's probably one of the better ones.
I don't know, that hard to say if this will improve with time, but certainly, like Michael said, it has. Where do you even go coming after Endgame, right? Like,
yeah,
what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the entire way around the board in 10, 15, let's give it more time, 30 years, when there's inevitably college courses and actual academic study about this era of filmmaking and how it's the wrong word to say pervasive, but inundated the culture was, and how many people then, when Endgame hit, decided to walk away from where Marvel had put the industry and entertainment in general, both on the production side and on the consumer side. I don't know what that means when you see Wolverine and Deadpool being ginormous. What is it, the 6th largest opening ever or something like that for an R-rated movie?
It made a lot of money.
Something crazy.
But inarguably, Deadpool movies are not Marvel movies in their direction. They are in their ownership, however.
Yeah,
so,
I think there
you have that weird half-baked thought.
I don't know. Did we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine on here? I'm not sure if we did.
I think we did after Comic-Con a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, so.
I think that movie is really a love letter to those 20th Century Fox superhero movies, right? That's what that movie really is.
Yeah.
And
it's just a nostalgia train getting that one moving. Because it's all people that watched those, like us, when it was the only thing you could get. Like
those were the only superhero movies, exactly.
Look, Marsden will always be Cyclops to me. That's all I'm saying. There's a reason I like those Sonic movies, and it ain't Sonic.
I will say those X-Men movies still are like, very formative for me as a superhero liker, right?
Absolutely. It's nothing. I mean, Patrick Stewart.
There's a reason
Come
Patrick
on.
Stewart is the guy, and like that's what he looks like now, right?
Yeah.
You guys have another plan for next Marvel movie to watch, Michael? Is it just kind of going in order slowly?
It's still going in order, so the next one up will be Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
That's where we're at. I don't think I've seen that one yet. So maybe we can catch up at the same time as you. That'd be fun.
We will reconvene the pod when you guys have seen it.
Okay, so we're taking a break for how many weeks while I
Months?
It does take me a little while.
Marvel
James
movie
Marsden's 51?
Yeah.
That's not possible.
My guy.
He ain't no spring chicken.
That's
Neither
not
are
possible. 51? Oh my god. That X-Men movie's at least 25 years old, right? It's got to be.
Oh, yeah. The first one for sure. It was 90s.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, JJ, you better save us with some other participation in video game or something else, because otherwise I'm gonna go down this dark rabbit hole.
Andy, are you spiraling because I said the 90s were 25 years ago?
The 90s were, depending on when you're talking about, in the 90s, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble over here. You better pull us out.
I'm not sure where to go.
Did you? Yeah. Give us a game. What'd you do? Did you get back into Civ 6?
Not really. I haven't. My heart hasn't been in it again.
Okay. You know what? That's fair. I uninstalled it.
Yeah.
I did the thing, which is I got back into it. I got that fix waiting for Civ 7. I did the achievement hunting thing, and that gave me the fix, and I'm gonna get through it. I don't need it again.
I'll tell you that. Actually, here's what I'll tell you. The thing that I haven't played it yet, but I want to play. Is this game that I've been seeing a couple of podcasts talk about, and saw some videos of Tactical Breach Wizards.
Oh, I was gonna say better not be Concord.
Well, it won't be, because that game is shutting down.
Rip.
Everyone is being refunded. RIP.
Tactical Breach Wizards came through in that Nintendo Direct.
I think there was a trailer for it in there.
Yes, there was. Because I bookmarked it to save for later and then never looked at it again. What is this game?
Y'all like Into the Breach?
Love Into the Breach.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this has Breach right in the title.
Is it the same company?
No.
Oh.
So this is made by... It is part of the Defenestration trilogy.
The what and the what now?
Now, you know what Defenestration is. Come on now. English major over here.
Defenestration?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael knows this. I'm
do.
confident.
Defenestration. I'm trying to break the word apart in my head without Googling it.
I don't know that that's going to help you on this one, Chip.
Yeah, I think you need to know the Latin. You need to know the Latin, otherwise it's not going to...
I mean, Venice. I'm not going to go... I can't... I can make some guesses. I'm not going to get it.
Defenestration is... Oh, go ahead, Michael. Yeah,
it's
you got
throwing someone out a window.
Correct.
That's the only meaning of this word?
Yes.
That is the literal meaning of the word. Yep.
That cannot be the only meaning of this word.
Nope. Because the defenestration is the act of throwing someone out of a window.
Well, what is fenestrate then? Because D would be the throwing out.
Yeah, fenestra is the root for window.
Fenestra, so out window.
Yeah.
D window. Okay. All right.
So this game maker and has made a series of games, now a trilogy, called the Defenestration Trilogy. It started with a game from a while back called Gunpoint. Don't know if you guys ever played this.
I remember seeing Gunpoint when it came out. It was very popular.
I liked it. It was an indie game, pixelish graphics, all about like this guy that you jump through windows and like bounce bullets off walls and do all kinds of crazy
through
stuff.
windows, huh?
Yes, and you can push people out of them.
Ah.
The next game in the series was Heat Signature, which is a roguelike. And basically, you're moving room to room in a spaceship. You can send people out airlocks.
Interesting.
And in this game, Tactical Breach Wizards, would you get it? You might think from the premise it's kind of XCOM like, but really it's closer to Into the Breach than XCOM, I would say.
Okay.
Think about what if wizards were like tier 1 operators,
I'm into that idea.
Okay.
I apparently have Gunpoint in my library, so
let's play Gunpoint. That game is great.
Did you play it on a keyboard or a controller?
I think I used a keyboard. It's old, so I would not be guaranteed the controller support is good.
I want that to work on a deck. You know what I mean?
But Tactical Breach Wizards, you're a, I forget the name they use. They have a stupid wizard term for it, but like a time wizard basically. And it's basically the ability for you to like rewind steps in the turn so that you can like try something and it doesn't work and then go back. That's the narrative conceit, right?
Sure.
And so you can move your people around. It's a grid based. You have health and you got a series of moves you can do. So all
they haven't made a
stuff.
game since in 7 years. Wow, good for them. Heat and Signature must have done really well.
I think I remember it and Gunpoint both being pretty popular, but I don't know. I'm not there. But what I will say, from this one is the writing looks very funny from what I have read. The wizards are very snarky and self-deprecating in ways, and the wizardiness is deployed in very funny fashions. There's like you meet a traffic warlock. It's like a traffic cop. The wizard is decked out with like what looks like a assault rifle, but it has like a wand strapped to the front of it.
I'm looking at it. This looks really funny.
And he's wearing the wraparound shades and backwards hat kind of thing. Very funny. But the tactics seems quite good from what I could see. It's a lot of, move my person here, push that guy out the window, do these kind of moves, and then end the turn and hope that whatever the enemies do doesn't kill me, kind of a thing.
Better get some extra points for shoving people out windows.
Of course, at the end of the level, you're rated on a bunch of things. One of the things is defenestrations.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I was joking, but that's awesome.
It's like, number of moves, damage taken, time, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things is number of defenestrations.
Beautiful.
So I've thus far resisted buying this game, but I want it.
Is it already out?
Yes,
it came out on the 22nd of August.
Oh, okay. So they just put it in the direct to be like, hey, this game looks cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam version, so it might have come out a few days sooner than the Switch.
Yeah, heck yeah. Sweet. All right, well, let's all play some games and report back. And if possible, count our defenestrations only in games for the next week, okay?
Tall order for this podcast.
Ooh, yeah.
Not falling out of windows, a tall order for this podcast?
I meant
all three of us playing games.
That was the thing I meant, yeah.
I see. Well, I don't know about you, but being back at school for the children's makes things a lot easier, actually.
Oh, I had a quick school-related.
I know.
Story.
You wrote it down. That's why I said it.
So my wife's a teacher. Thank you. Great, excellent. And this year they decided to get a classroom pet, which is a thing people do, middle school. Okay.
Yeah. Many of the teachers encountered by my children so far have had fish.
Yep. You can
One
get a
had
grant.
chickens, I think.
Whoa. That's a different level.
Well, the
Wow.
little ones,
Sure.
you could get what?
You can get a grant for this.
Okay.
So the money is not have to be paid for by you directly, thankfully, because animals can be expensive.
They can be.
But there were a lot of options, and she let the kids decide which one they wanted. Which pet do you think the kids went with?
A puppy?
No. Also not an option.
Oh, okay. So we have to think of something that could be like a real option.
Yeah.
No joke options here. Bearded dragon.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, my daughter wants one of those.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how it came about.
Any thoughts, Michael?
I was gonna go with chinchilla.
Ooh, yeah. We had those in college.
They smell.
They do. They are cute, though. They chose hermit crabs.
Okay, we had those when I was a kid.
Okay.
Hermit crabs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So like water tank also, kind of like fish, but cooler.
Well, they're pretty, they need water, but they don't like swim a lot.
Right, sure.
They kind of just like to burrow in the sand in their little shell.
I mean, they need some water.
Absolutely. Yes. So
Have you ever
this-
seen a hermit crab outside of its shell? It's kind of gross.
Yes, when
Yeah.
she brought them home before taking them to school after.
Mm.
Oh, you saw?
after we got them. Yeah.
Oh, did you get to go to pick them out?
Yeah, I was involved. We needed hands to carry stuff, so that was me.
The
Do
muscle.
we have names and how many?
It's 2 and Frank and Hank.
Frank and Hank.
Yes.
What inspired Frank and Hank?
Ask the children. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought our handy teacher might have come up with them in order to prevent Bodie McBoatface situation.
No. I think the kids decided they liked it and the rhyme. So
Frank and Hank. How long will Frank and Hank live? That's the next question.
couldn't tell you.
What is the average life of a hermit crab? Google.
Couldn't tell you.
That's funny. Well, so can Frank and Hank live unattended during nights, or does Frank and Hank have to travel back and forth?
No, they stay at school. It's fine.
Okay. Oh no, Frank. Hermit crabs can live more than 30 years in their natural habitat on tropical seashores.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what they live to be in captivity?
Not that long, I'll guess.
No. Months to years.
Sounds closer.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm writing down in here that we need Frank and Hank updates as the year goes on.
Well, there's already been one incident.
No.
For the long weekend, it was a extra long weekend, right? This past weekend.
Yeah.
One of the assistant teachers, interns, I guess. I don't know what the proper terminology is.
Teaching assistant?
Maybe. Decided she wanted to take them home to show her mother.
No.
So she did.
Did Frank and Hank not make it a few years?
Well, she texted and said she thought one of them was dead. But that turned out to have not been true because she came back with them in a completely different tank and they were both still alive.
What?
Yeah, that now you are me saying, why would you do this? And none of us have any explanation.
What?
Yeah.
This feels like a Hank and Frank Jr. situation.
It feels definitely like I was trying to come up with misspellings of Frank and Hank. Frank and Frank? No, Frank and Fank?
I mean, I could totally believe, right? Just like, hey, I messed up. I tripped. I broke the tank. We replaced it. Sorry. right?
Yeah,
You would just say that.
you would
You wouldn't just show back up the next day
act
with a
like
different,
nothing happened.
completely different tank. Like, the stuff inside is different. Like, some things are there, but other things aren't. Like, what the heck?
What in the world?
Bizarre, man.
How do we get an update further on that situation?
Stay tuned, I suppose.
Oh, please. Please, I need to know more. Also, what are Frank and Hank living in? And that's going to be our final question of the evening.
They have each a little shell. That
Mhm.
is their little home. There are
Mhm.
several other different sized shells in the tank for them if they decide they want to
Grow.
change.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
All right. Well, we need to come up with some good ideas for Frank and Hank's next shells. All things are on the table. Coke cans, etc. Where could they email those?
They could send that to defenestration@prague.com.
Prague.com?
Yeah, sorry. Bad historical reference. They could
I
send that
got it.
to
I got it.
Thanks,
I
JJ.
get jokes.
They could send that to podcast@weweregamers.com.
YouTube. We have YouTube. YouTube.com/@weweregamers. I do some work putting these together on there. At some point in the near future, as things calm down, we're going to do some more work on there. Stay tuned for that as well. 30 Years War reference, huh?
Hey, man, sometimes you got to make some deep pulls. Make sure people are still awake.
Well, we'll see if we can hold this thing together as long as the Habsburgs.
We should be so lucky.